Welcome to Space World. Let's go.
Hey there, today I'm going to be talking about a different game I really enjoyed. If you're familiar with my channel, I know I mostly focus on, that guy. What's his name? I don't know. And don't worry, I won't do these one-offs very often. So, let's get started. I love Snow Bros. It's an arcade co-op game made by Toplan, where you play as these snowmans, Nick and Tom, and they can throw unlimited snowballs. I love their designs, they look like happy little marshmallows. Your goal is to defeat all enemies in a stage to progress. You do this by covering the enemies in snow until they're in a ball, and you kick it to knock the other enemies. You can also get caught on your snowball, very useful for recovering. And enemies drop items if you hit them with a snowball. It's usually for extra points, but they do give you power-ups. The red potion makes you faster. Blue powers up your snow, making it easier to cover enemies in snowballs. And the yellow potion increases your range. There's also a green potion that turns you big and you can knock out enemies. It's pretty much an instant win. It's very similar to Bubble Bobble, mostly in terms of gameplay, only you go up instead of down. This game has 50 stages, and the 10th stage has a boss, and you'll know you're about to fight a boss when you hear... Yeah, the bosses are freaky looking. You just beat them by waiting for the boss to throw enemies, then kick the snowballs at them, and they start bleeding when their health is low. Like, jeez. There's one that shoots bombs, and there's ones where you have to fight two bosses. One of the things I like about this game is the unique backgrounds it has. There's one with a factory with weird robots, and a nice looking palace that sometimes shows statues. And then you have the last world that's a cave with tiles that looks like cake. And there's no death pit, so you can do stuff like this. There's also one stage with a dead princess. Also, the music that plays here, it sounds epic. Then you have the last boss being the stone golems, with the princesses, Pretty Pretty and Punchy Punchy, are tied up, and a spike ceiling slowly coming down. Oh, and the goblin shoots bubbles. Also, if you die, the princess will shout out, "Oh my god!" When you beat the golem, you'll be put into a grassy field with the princess's save. Yeah, it seems like a short game, but it is an arcade game after all. I like to play it for getting the high score. What makes it fun to go back to is, if you defeat all enemies with one snowball, you'll be rewarded with money and they're worth 10,000 points. It definitely makes it fun to replay it again, for a better score. Although as much as I love this game, it can be a joy killer at times. The later levels are poorly designed, especially the ones that you can't jump out of pits. And enemies like the toads that shoot fire and the blue fuzzy guys can really screw off. And when you die, it takes a while to respawn and you lose all your power-ups. And you are very slow. I know it sounds frustrating, but trust me, it's a very enjoyable game when you put your time into it. Anyways, Snow Brothers is not just for arcades. It has been ported to several consoles. But before we do that, there's one more thing I want to check out for arcade. And I feel like not very many people show this very often. And it's service mode. It's pretty much an option menu for arcades. But there are some neat things you can find in here, like a button check. And strangely, there's a third button, even though the arcade cabinet is designed for two. Kinda funny that it still functions through an emulator, even though it doesn't do anything. There's also a color check and a sound test. And you can find a track that never got used. I know this is just nerd stuff, but I like to go through them because it's not often you get to see these. It's kind of like going through unused content. For other arcades, you can check out the playtime and test animations. That's always fun. Okay, now we can check out the ports. And when it comes to Snow Bros on console, yeah, they're one of the most expensive games to get. Even the Game Boy version isn't safe. So, emulation is pretty much the only way to play these. Now, what's interesting about these ports is that they're developed by different companies, and they have their own stories. So for NES, it's made by Capcom. You have this Demon King Scroach, and he wants to take over the world. He then freezes the Kingdom Whiteland, and the prince turned into snowmen. And he's stolen the princesses as well. It's kind of weird that they brought this up because you never see Scroach besides the cutscenes. But anyways, it's a decent 8-bit port of the arcade game. It has less enemies, bosses don't show off blood, makes sense. And the boss at stage 40, you only fight one monster instead of two. And you get to play slots for being a boss. You can get lives, or you can get letters. Oh yeah, I forgot. So very rarely, enemies can drop a snowman coin, and it spawns these blue slimes. And if you kick them in the snowball, you'll get letters that spell out snow, and you get an extra life. But yeah, for NES, you have infinite continues, which makes it sound like the life system is pointless. But you do get an alternate ending for beating the game without continues. One last thing before I move on to the next port. If you enter this code, or if you're playing the Japanese version, then press select. You can play Time Attack. You don't get anything for doing these, but it's a fun side mode. Now let's check out the original Game Boy, developed by Dual, and it's renamed as Snow Bros. Jr. For this, I'm playing the Japanese version. The reasons being is that the US version doesn't show you going up to the next stage. Instead, you get a white screen that says, "Let's go to the next stage." Yeah, I didn't play this for very long. So this version doesn't have co-op because your brother has been kidnapped. And this version is also, very clunky. You can only shoot 2 snowballs on screen, and it's sluggish even when there's no enemies on screen. And the bosses are shrunk to fit the Game Boy screen. Now, when you beat a boss, you get tablets that tells a story. Oh, right, I'm playing the Japanese version. I'll bring up the English sprites. Okay.
Once upon a time, the world was whole. When war began, the world split into 2 parts. But some people remember the ancient legend which says, "A hero will appear to unite the world."
So, once you beat the stone golems, you save your brother, and the spiked ceiling gives you a heart. And he tells you, if you return the heart to the sun, the world will be whole again. And we use the stone tablets to open a door to enter a new world. And almost forgot the heart. Yep, that's right, there's 10 extra stages to go, with new enemies that teleports. It was pretty difficult, but I did manage to get through it. Okay, we're at the boss. Time to beat up the sun! I did it! I saved the world! Well, it's too bad this port isn't good. I'm not sure why the game runs so slow. Maybe it was programmed poorly? I think they probably should have ported this on the Game Gear. Well, what's next? There's a cancel port on the Amiga, made by Ocean. I couldn't get it to work on RetroArch. I'm not familiar with Amiga emulation, but also because I'm a little lazy. But from my understanding, it's not much different than the arcade version, other than the intro. Oh, here we go. Here's a fan-made version on the ZX Spectrum called Specky Bros. Now this is gaming right here. Okay, let's get to the real deal here. Snow Brothers on Sega Genesis. This time, Toplan made this port. So what's the story this time? Nick, Tom, Piri, and Punchy are hanging out on top of a hill, while Tom is flapping his arms. And one of the princesses is making a flower necklace. Aw, that's adorable. But oh no! An anime antagonist named... hang on. You know what, I'm not even gonna bother. I'm just gonna call him Demon King. So he has stolen the princesses, and we gotta save him again. The Genesis port is the most accurate version so far. One of the neat things they added is new tracks for stages 21 to 29 and stages 31 to 39, because originally they only used 2 of the same tracks from stages 1 and 2. Actually, the music on Genesis sounds great, especially in stage 5. It sounded good before, but oh man, this gives me that Save the World vibes. Well, unfortunately, the final boss music didn't get in. In fact, there's only one boss song in the whole game. Well, we have saved the princesses once more, but then the Demon King stole... I don't like where your finger is at on that snowman. I'm gonna have to call the cops. So with the Snow Brothers captured, it's time for the princesses to step in. Now we can play as the princess. And we have more stages to go through. Oh, by the way, if you don't feel like going through these stages again after a game over, you can go to the password in the menu, and you can get back to the stage you're in. Anyways, we got a place that looks very alien looking, and we have new enemies. It's not gonna get any easier from here. And the boss is... oh, yeah, nice spawn point. But yeah, his attack pattern didn't took too long to figure out. And the final stage is in space, which was also very difficult to get through. And the final boss is not the Demon King. Well, it kinda looks like him. Well, he seems to have a similar pattern from the other boss, so he wasn't too bad. So we have saved the Snow Brothers, and the princesses reward us with a kiss. Surprised it didn't melt. Everything's back to normal, and Tom can continue flapping his arms. And then you're back to the title with no credits. Otherwise, the Genesis port is excellent. If there's one thing I wish they added, is an option to switch the game to end at stage 50. I mean, I do appreciate the extra content, but 50 stages is plenty for me. Well, that's it for the ports. And after 4 years later, Snow Brothers got a sequel that not very many people knew about. And unfortunately, this was Toplan's last game, as they were filed bankruptcy during the game's release. That being Snow Brothers 2 with new elves, only for arcades. Unlike the first game, this one has 4-player co-op. So let's see what this has in store. Oh man, oh god, okay, give me a second. Okay, that's better. So we have 3 additional characters with their own unique abilities, but I'll stick to the snowman. And already, this feels a lot better to control. You jump faster, you can jump down off of platforms, which is something that would have been very useful in the first game. And each world has 5 levels and a boss, except for World 3 and 6. For those, you have to climb up the towers, which is a nice change of pace. It also has some parts where you have to use a snowball to get up to a platform you couldn't reach to. And this game has like really weird bosses. They have a dancing rabbit, a slot machine, and a horrifying looking train. Yeah, it's weird, but I like it. The cutscenes are pretty funny too. The princess always ends up getting captured. Like, she gets caught by the train, then gets shots out of a cannon and blasts the tower, and then, oh no. But really, this sequel is an improvement in so many ways. Even if I lose a life in the harder levels, I don't feel underpowered. It's fun from start to finish. Really, the only negative things I have with it is, it's kinda short. Like, it could be beaten a little under 20 minutes, and for speedruns, it's under 15, but I guess it makes it a decent speed game. And the new playable characters aren't really that good. Well, maybe if I played them more, I could come up with better strategies for them, but I wouldn't play them over the snowman. And thankfully for 4 players, you're not forced to play the other characters, so you can all play the same character if you want. It's really sad that this is only on arcades. Like, this game is generally really good. I would play this all the time if it was on Switch. Well, before we move on, let's check out service mode. Well, there's a button check, oh, we can check out the sprites of the game. I found Nick's sprite. Let's see what the other color palettes looks like. Look, he's a scary snowman now. Boo. Alright, sound test. Oh, wow, they actually put something here. We got buff men. What else? Okay, little people marching. And, excuse me? I think I see where our Toplan's budget went. Wait, can I even show this? I'm gonna stop showing this. And after that, that was it for Snow Bros. Since Toplan was bankrupt right when the sequel came out, there was no more Snow Bros. Or whatever this company is known for. They made some well-known shoot-'em-ups apparently. While its first game got it some ports, its sequel is stuck in arcades and it's never been re-released. And like most of the lesser-known gaming IPs, Snow Brothers was abandoned. and quickly forgotten. And then it got some mobile spin-offs for some reason. Yeah, so apparently all of Toaplan's IPs are being held by Tatsushing, and they let Isaac Entertainment to make bland mobile games. And of course, this company has like no information about it. They made an arcade port, an Infinite Runner, and a Snow Bros. Hop game. They don't even look official, but the company is mentioned in the Snow Brothers Wikipedia, so I guess they are? There's also a Snow Brothers Pop and a Snow Brothers Cacao, which I didn't even know these existed up until now. There's like zero information about them. But forget that, Snow Brothers 1 got a remake on the Switch. It also has a physical deluxe copy that comes with the art book and plushes, and I want those plushes, man! Anyways, this remake has a new art style, and it has a soundtrack rearrange, which I don't like it as much, but you can change it to the original. You can also change the screen color green. Why is that an option? I can barely see anything. And it has time attack and survival mode. Okay, let's play the game. Peaceful Snowland. One day, King Artish of Kingdom Hadia invade Snowland. Then King Artish transformed Nick and Tom into snowmen. And he stole the princesses as well. Man, they really could just do whatever they want with the plot of the first game. And guess what? This remake isn't good. There's some control issues, like if I press both left and right, it disables your movement, even if you're holding down just one direction. The enemy hitboxes aren't accurate, which is to be expected, and the art style and smooth animation is not doing it for me. Like for enemies, they have a face forward sprite when they turn around, but in the remake, they do this weird thing where they try to merge between the side and the front view. Like watch this moblin turn around in slow motion. That's freaking disgusting. Now, aside from that, it does play fine for the most part. Well, let's see if we have any extra levels after saving the princesses. It seems that the curse hasn't been lifted. We still need to beat King Artish. So, now we're in ancient Japan with levels from Snow Brothers 2. And the boss is a ninja dog. Man, what does any of this have to do with Snow Brothers? He doesn't even look like he's from this game. What's next? Abandoned ships with fish with legs? Sure. And the boss is 3 harpies, and their attacks are stupidly hard to dodge. Like, look at this. What was I supposed to do there? I used so many credits off this boss. I had to really rely on iframes off of the snowballs. Oh my god, finally. Oh my god, we're not done yet. Alright, the castle. Let's get it over with. Oh, wow, these enemies are really hard to beat. The flying stone golems with spears is giving me a hard time. Okay, where's the king? Oh shoot, he has a fire-breathing chicken? This boss fight is really dumb. There's like little too much going on here. Do they really need to add a stone golem here? Ah, dang it. Come on. Okay, so the strat I found is as soon as I spawn, fall into the fire with iframes, then you'll be on the top platform, and just camp there until he's defeated. Oh my god, okay, come on, we gotta get out of here. I just want to get this damn remake done and over with. Oh jeez, it's you. Don't do it. Don't you dare. Oh god!
No! Not today!
There, the king's dead. Can I go home now? Yeah, this remake is terrible. And you wanna know what really sucks about it? It was 20 bucks. The least they can do is include the original arcade. Well, there's one thing I haven't checked out yet, which is the Monster Mode DLC. For 10 bucks, oh come on. It's literally a mode that lets you play as the monsters, and you get to use their abilities, and it's actually fun? Yeah, no joke, the DLC is the one good thing about this remake. You can unlock other monsters by doing certain objectives, and some of their abilities are overpowered. Like, I did one move here, and I beat everyone. And you can play as the princesses, and unlocking them is really stupid. Thank God for this video, man. Anyways, it's still not worth the 20 bucks. I wouldn't even get it on sale. I mean, it doesn't go on sale very often anyways. Well, I think I pretty much covered the whole series. Well, I could check just to be sure. They're getting a new game? Yeah, out of nowhere, Snow Brothers is getting a brand new 3D game. Aside from the awful redesign, like Jesus Christ, there's a good reason snowmen shouldn't have teeth and anime eyes. And the poor frame rate, it actually looks kinda decent. I never knew I wanted a 3D Snow Bros game up until now. And there's reports of a Snow Brothers 2 remake coming out. Finally, after 30 years, it's no longer an arcade exclusive. Now, it is made by the same team from Snow Brothers Special, but I'm just glad my favorite arcade game is finally getting the recognition it deserves. And that is it for Snow Bros. Truly, one of the games and snowmans of all time. But seriously, I love this weird, obscure arcade game. You should try them out. If this game isn't your type of thing, then, well, I hope you had fun watching this at least. Well, I'm gonna head out, so I'll see you later.